Good afternoon, customers of Nowhere Games and Comics. It's me, Matthias, here with the new weekly episode of Comics You Should Be Reading, where I talk about some of the many of millions of comics that are out there in the world and emphasize particularly on ones that you may not be aware of but are totally worth your time, the comics that are particularly worth reading. And I have two subjects I want to talk about today. One of them is all ages comics, comics that we can enjoy whether you are a young boy or girl who's just now getting into comics or you've been reading for decades. As well as the other one is a big one that's a little on my shirt right now. Stranger Comics just got picked up by HBO to where their entire Asunda storyline is going to become basically the new Game of Thrones. And I could not be more excited because aside from this being an amazing, amazing comic, it is something we have supported for years, since before we even opened. Sebastian, the writer and creator of Asunda, is a good friend, so I have all sorts of cool things I get to show you. But let's start off first off with the kids' books. Right now, when I say kids' books, I also mean all ages. There are some amazing books that, once again, the range of audience is incredibly wide. So first off, I want to point out, if you're a Marvel fan, there's a lot of great Marvel books out there for you. But there are some fun ones that still have the spirit of the 60s and 70s so deeply ingrained in them, and as such, can easily be handed to a young reader at the age of, say, 6, 7, 8 years old while being enjoyed by an adult. And that's something rare in comics. I can honestly say it's hard to find a book like that for DC right now. But thanks to IDW, weird twist I know, we have some Marvel comics that you can really enjoy, and your kids, your younger siblings, or perhaps you, if you're a younger watcher, can really enjoy. One of them I want to bring up is, of course, the Marvel Age, or the Marvel Action Avengers. The Marvel Action line is a bunch of Marvel titles, like Marvel Action Spider-Man, that are great for all ages. The Avengers book is like any Avengers. If you watch the movie, if you watch the TV shows, if you watch Marvel superheroes, you'll be able to jump in. Whereas Marvel Action Spider-Man is a little bit of that taste of Into the Spider-Verse. You're going to have Miles Morales, Peter Parker, and Gwen Stacy all going to high school together. You're going to get all the fun of those high school dramas. And if you're a longtime reader, it has so much of the fun of the 60s era of Spider-Man, but it also has all the great tone of Into the Spider-Verse. So fun comics that we stock, Marvel Action line, really, really great. On the DC end, DC has seen that era. They're trying to get books that everyone can enjoy. And right now, they're getting some of the best young adult and children's authors in the industry. New York Times best-selling authors like Ridley Pearson, who's doing the new Super Sons graphic novel that just came out. It's not the Damian Wayne you're thinking of the main universe, but it is young Jonathan Kent and Bruce's son, Ian Wayne, as they team up with another young girl, Candace, to fight crime together and save the world. It's a great all-ages book, whether you're a big-time Batman Super Sons fan or you're a young reader, it's a good way to go. Ridley Pearson is the same author who brought us Disney's Kingdom Keepers, so really fun one there. If you just got out of Aquaman and you want more on Mera, the popular new female protagonist, you can't go wrong with this new Mera one, Mera Tiebreaker. It's by Danielle Page, who did the Lunar Cycle, and there's a lot of really great young adult books out there on the market. This gets you a little bit of Aquaman, but Mera is the main character. You get her origin, all of that in one great graphic novel. It doesn't matter if you are an older man or woman who just, has been reading Aquaman for 30, 40, 60 years, or you are brand new to it, young 6 or 7 year old reader, this has got it all for you. We also are expanding our children's section. If you haven't seen our all ages and children's section, it is immediately upon entering the store. You just walk directly back, and we have varying comics and graphic novels there. And I just talked with Sebastian Jones, who we'll be talking a little bit more about briefly, and got his new line of books like I Am Mixed, I Am Living in Two Homes, and I Am Awesome, which are great books that help younger readers really kind of recognize a lot of scenarios that are common in modern day society but not often talked about in a positive light. These are great books, wonderful, wonderful tone to them. I also really like that Sebastian has another great one out, Pinata from Stranger Comics. Really fun all ages book that is now available. And then Greg Pak, the man who's bringing us Firefly. Yes, Firefly, like Serenity, the classic sci-fi series, as well as things like Ronin Island and Mechadet U, has a line of children's books as well with top-name comic artists like Miyazawa. This one is amazing, ABC Disgusting. Really fun, younger reader, helps with, alphabet. And The Princess Who Saved Herself. Really strong female protagonist, fun one that takes the basic trope of damsel in distress and completely flips it. You've got metal and rock and roll in there with fantasy. Really great one. I can't personally wait to read that one with my son. And one other wonderful one from Stranger Comics, Brown Sugar Fairies. Another really great one where we're just trying to show that sequential art and books are great for everyone. And these are some amazing, amazing reads that we can now add to our children's section and all ages section. And they are all signed, because that's something I also feel that so often our younger readers get to miss out on. We have big name comic creators in here for top tier books that are often a little bit higher on the age range signing. So now we have some signed books so you can enjoy that at all ages. So those are some of the great things that you can now find in our young adults, all ages, and children's sections of the store. If you ever have any questions, you can always ask myself or any of the staff members here at Nowhere, and we're happy to point those out for you. But now for the big one that I've been dying to talk about, Asunda. This is the next Game of Thrones. You're going to completely forget about Westeros and the Wall by the time you start picking up things like Untamed and Niobe. There's a reason why I'm wearing this awesome shirt. Sebastian Jones is a brilliant young writer. He has developed this world over 20 years. There's a reason why HBO probably paid him untold millions for this awesome storyline. This is going to be the next Game of Thrones. And if you want to start it out, you need to start it out with The Untamed. The Untamed is the best entrance into the world of Asunda. It even comes with Pathfinder information. If you want to play this in role-playing games, you can get these characters in there. But with Untamed, we follow the story of a man who had a very, very dark past. But his one chance at redemption was his wife and child, who were taken from him along with his life. But when the devil comes and offers him the chance to get revenge on those who caused it, he doesn't even have to wait a moment before he says, "Sign me up." Let's go on this hardcore revenge story of fantasy with elves and ogres and orcs and all sorts of amazing things. I love it because it also has a wonderful mix of ethnicities. This is not the whitewashed Tolkien age of everyone looks the same, of just slightly different ears and heights. The world of Asunda is great because it is an entire world of varying ethnicities, races, ages, religions, all that stuff. So Untamed is the great starting point on that, and I'm sure many of you guys have seen that the prices of the single issues are skyrocketing. Don't worry, we have a lot of those single issues still because we've been supporting them from the start, all at very reasonable prices, but you can't skip out on these amazing trades like Untamed for just $25, or the breakaway character on Untamed was Niobe, a young female elf who got the first solo miniseries from Stranger Things. Niobe is the girl who basically will bring upon the war against hell and the devil himself. She will rise the armies to fight him. But the question is, will she succeed? You want to start with Niobe, She is Life, which we now have in trade paperback form. It's an awesome one. Once again, all of these Stranger Things comics are signed by the creators. We have been very blessed by having their access to do such. We're happy to get you guys prepped so you can read these in advance. Don't let it be like Game of Thrones where you're reading the novels years after the show came out. Get ahead on this. Be the one to tell your friends and talk it up. These are amazing, amazing titles. Untamed, of course, had a sequel to the first volume, which was A Sinner's Prayer. This one is The Killing Floor. We also have in trade. Niobe herself also has a sequel that is not yet in trade. It is just now coming out. It's not, in fact, available at most comic shops because it is not through the major distribution cycle. It's only available at conventions, but we picked them up for you. It is Niobe, She is Death. It is an incredible one. If you want another great character, there's Dusu. Dusu is a very strong warrior. He is basically the Black Panther of the Asunda universe, and it is going to be an awesome, awesome role. I cannot wait to see who will fill over at HBO. But this is a strong Black Panther-esque story set once again in the fantasy realm. He is a hardcore elven warrior with a jaguar spirit inside. Irathun is your classic gathering of the heroes. This is going to be your traditional Dungeons & Dragons Pathfinder quest with these great characters in this great realm. And then, of course, we have the one that I cannot wait for. This sets up a really wonderful universe. And just like the universes that we're so used to in comics, you have to have your team gathering moment. And not yet available in other comic shops. We got it directly from the conventions. Thanks to Sebastian. Thank you. A big shout out to Stranger Comics for allowing us to have these amazing comics for you. We have Asessa. This is the Avengers. This is the gathering of Dusu, Niobe, all of them in one big book. And this one, issue 1, we now have is fully available. It is going to be a huge one, and this is going to be what the show is all going to, add up to. This will be basically, if you're watching Game of Thrones, this will be the final big war between the White Walkers and the people of Westeros. This is the big thing right here. But of course, if you just want to start out quick and easy and grab the books in the way that they're going to appear in the HBO show, I talked to Sebastian himself. The opening story, unquestionably, is going to be Untamed, which once again, not only do we have in trade form, we also have this wonderful original hardcover. Asunda is going to be huge. You're not going to want to miss this. Some amazing, amazing things. And while I have you all, we've talked up Asunda, I want to show you some of the amazing comics that we still have in stock. So obviously we mentioned Asunda, and these are not available at your average comic shop. You're going to have to come to us to get these. We have various variants of Niobe, She Is Life, the first issue. Not only do we have cool variants of that, we have issues 1 and 2 of Niobe, She Is Death, the sequel that is still coming out. And once again, not through normal distribution channels, so not in your average comic shop. In fact, I can't even name another comic shop around here who's going to have that. We also have higher end variants, signed by the creators, signed by Sebastian and the rest of the crew. We have the original series issues for Dusu, which is an amazing, amazing comic. I can't express how awesome it is. We have more variants for Niobe, She Is Life, available at Nowhere Games and Comics. If you want to get in at the extremely high-end rate even, the first appearance of everyone in Untamed #1, first printing, first Niobe, all of that in this issue right here. We have the traditional covers available that were convention exclusives originally of Niobe, She Is Life, store exclusive variants, and of course, issue 2s, issue 3s, and issue 4s of this groundbreaking series that I assure you everyone is going to love and everyone is going to be talking about in the upcoming years. You do not want to miss out on Stranger Comics. Come to Nowhere where we can get you set up and you can be talking about this before anyone else gets to know about it, before anyone else realizes this is one of the most amazing comic series and universe out there. This is like discovering Game of Thrones back in the 1990s. Be that person, be that hip guy or girl, and get in on the ground floor, because in about a year or two, it's going to be all over HBO and all over the world. So those are the comics we believe you should be reading this week. Thank you all for watching. Swing by the store, let's talk about these things. Hopefully you pick it up and give it a read. Make sure to tell your friends, spread the video around, and let's enjoy some comics.